It's not just pixels. A lot of people will say that, oh, it's just pixels. So what's the problem? It's like the problem is even though you busted a nut on those pixels in your closet, you think that it's okay to do it in real life. And then when people call you weird as hell, just make these characters' backstories take place in college. When they're above they could have been 20 and been drawn the same way. It would not have an effect in people liking the story or anime or at all, bro. It is that simple. Should anime fans stop defending problematic content as just Japanese culture? Now, in my opinion, I think the ones that are going to be having an opinion agreeing with that the most are going to be women specifically, because I feel like they're the ones that notice most often the way that they are portrayed in anime. And it appeals to, you know, the monkey brain aspect of the male mind, of course, right? I'm talking about your harems, and even in shonen, you still see aspects of harem leak into that. But this is all, of course, something that is very reminiscent of what women in Japan tolerate on a day-to-day basis, you know, to the point where they have had to create, for example, trains to separate men and women for specifically only women, because
certain times
will be
for only women.
We
did see that up
and
there.
You can argue that even in a place like Houston, Texas, where we live, we would need something like that as well. So if any, you can argue that something like that is necessary in a lot of different places in the world. I believe not too long ago there was an Instagram video of some dude who was, I think there was some girl who had a skirt, and dude had a hole in his pants above his knee with a camera, and someone saw him with this. He kneeled down to record a video under her skirt, and dude saw this, and I guess he had a GoPro on his shirt, because we got a whole sequence of him chasing him throughout so whatever area he was in, until eventually he caught him, and then some police came to get this man out of there. Not saying this is something that you won't see in the US either.
According to a quick search, South Africa records the highest absolute rate of SA cases globally. I did not know that. What's going on in South Africa?
What year was that statistic taken in?
Let's see. Doesn't say a year. It's just like the first thing that I popped up. I just saw what countries had the most. Then you have USA, India, Sweden, Bangladesh, and Pakistan. What's going on in Bangladesh? Y'all touching people out there?
They touching people.
Not very
freaky
good.
countries out there, bro.
Not very good.
The only reason that Japan is a topic of discussion is because we're talking about anime.
We're talking about anime, of course. I didn't know that was...
So don't let this be like your opportunity to paint Japan as like the top country to rape women in, all right? There's a bunch of freak culture going on across the planet. Japan just happens to be a topic of discussion because we're talking about how this culture is leaking into their stories in anime. Really, I want this conversation to be something that addresses whether or not we should have conversations about how these authors create these stories in anime.
Yes.
And whether or not we should talk about these as being a fetish of the author, or if it's something that's a part of their culture and we should like criticize that aspect of their culture.
At some point in times, there can be some customs that the Japanese people do that a lot of Americans specifically need to realize that America does not work the way everybody else does. However, that does not mean you give an excuse to where wrong is wrong. So I looked up online, age of consent in Japan, and the legal age of adulthood is 18. It's pretty much the same as the US.
I believe that changed relatively recently though.
What, 18? Oh yeah, because before it was it was young.
It was like 16 or something.
But some restrictions for age of consent, although some remain at 20. Like for alcohol, you can drink at 20. Over here, it's 21. The age of consent is genuinely set at 16 across Japan. But that's consent. That's more like parents are like, hey, you know, sure. Which I don't know how that is with the U.S. The age of consent. I don't.
Bro, imagine,
That's
hey, I'm
like-
trying to smash your daughter. You down?
Ugh, Jesus Christ. But regardless of that, that's like age of consent. I feel like that might be a little bit more maybe in the rural areas. I mean, it could definitely happen in time too. I know, You were Linda was saying that it's just different in the less populated areas.
Yeah, you go to some rural parts of the United States, go to Kentucky or some parts of Texas, you'll find
there's probably
crazy.
And again, that's not saying that it's right, but I want to let the facts out so that I can say, prove the point of where there is some wrongness in the situation. Age of consent is 16 years old. Engaging in sexual activity with anyone under 16 is illegal. It says it here for the Japan people too. You know what I'm saying? Though an exception exists for consensual relations between youths aged 13 through 15 where the partner is less than 5 years older. So I guess 13 and 15, and then if the partner is, like they said, less than 5 years older. So 13-year-old and a 17-year-old, I think would be gross, but I guess that's legal under that. This is all from Google, so I'm not saying that it's crude, but this is what I'm looking up here. Then marriage is 18 for men and 16 for women as far as the youngest goes. But anyone under 20 must obtain parental or guardian consent to marry. So you still have to ask your parents, even if you are a 16-year-old. Female in that type of case.
Seems like leftover culture from back when people would have like arranged marriages and stuff.
Probably. So what I say, because in the context of the question, when I go for some of the Westerners kind of put a lot of their laws and culture on anime artists and not understand that these people are raised and born in Japan and don't live like the Americans live, that's where I can draw a little bit of the line at to be like, okay, well, you guys are expecting a fully, so not to harp on it too much, but like the point that we made in the Gachiakuta video where it's like, y'all are expecting a full-blown Japanese woman that's only been in Japan, that's been born in Japan, to understand how black people should be. That doesn't make any sense. She wouldn't know. However,
you haven't even taken time to understand their culture, much less their language.
Exactly. However, that does, in my opinion, not give an excuse, and this is where I would go with the agreeing side, because when you look at some of these, let's say, harem-esque animes, a lot of the characters, or a lot of, even in some of the shonen, which the shonen, I can understand why the main character is as young, because it's supposed to be targeted towards the young male. That's literally the definition of shonen. It's supposed to be targeted for young males, not necessarily adult males, young males. So we're talking about the middle school, early high school, the young men that are very impressionable. They want to see a hero. They like Superman and all that type of stuff. So
a role model they could admire, right?
Exactly. So
Naruto got me through a lot of like situations where I was being bullied.
Exactly.
And I needed something to just tell me, you ain't no bitch.
But that's the point, because it was Naruto's my favorite anime of all time. I'm gonna say it a million times on this. When I was watching Naruto, I was Naruto's age. So it's like there was a connection there, and that's the whole purpose of the shonen stuff. However, when you look at some of the let's go with over-sexualization of characters in general that are that age, be it male or women, the reason why it gets weird is because it's not going to be too surprising that a young girl or a young male is going to see somebody of the opposite sex, or their hormones are going to start. That's the age that it happens.
As attractive, right?
Yeah, so they're going to start looking at stuff and being like, oh, okay, and whatever, you know what I'm saying? So that's understandable. But where my disconnect goes out, because again, like, it happened in even American shows. Like if you're watching Adventure Time, you see, them looking at the opposite gender or even the same gender, whatever, like sexual attraction starts to happen, and it happens in multiple shows. It's like, okay, I guess you could say even in the Disney princess stuff, but where over sexualization is where it gets kind of weird to me, because at the same time, they're still grown people making these shows.
Yeah, imagine a grown ass man drawing like a 16-year-old in high school tripping down the stairs,
and all the business is out.
His wong is just out, and her panties are off. Not off, because it's still showing.
Right, but that's where it gets kind of. That's where it gets kind of weird to me, because it's like, okay,
man drawing this anime.
That's where you start to lose me, right? Where it's like, okay, I get the relationship, because you saw it even in Naruto. Obviously, there were instances of it. There were fires that needed to be continued to kindle, but there were already people that were interested. Sakura and all of them were already interested in Sasuke since episode 1. Naruto was interested in Sakura. Like you saw it already. That's just a part of nature. Like that's fine. But like you wasn't seeing Sakura trip down and half of her clothes fall off. That would have been random. You know what I'm saying? But it's kind of like that's where you lose me, because based off of the reason why I'm reading this, that's still kind of illegal. I mean, yeah, you're not partaking in any of it, but the whole waifu and husbando culture, and like, it exists, and it usually exists based off of sexual attraction to that character. That's the whole purpose of it. It's not just, oh, that's my favorite character, because my favorite character Naruto's Naruto. I have never called him my husbando. First of all, I like women. Word. Second of all, that's still just kind of random. You know what I'm saying? So differentiating a favorite character from a husbando or a waifu, you have a sexual attraction to a husbando and a waifu. So by over-sexualizing the female characters or even the male characters, you're creating this sense where it's like, and at the end of the day, it's still up to the consumer to look at them and be like, yo, like, that's a kid, that's weird. Do you know what I'm saying? And just completely either stop watching it or write it or whatever the hell. But you gotta, you can look at some of the creators who are usually mid-30s, 40-year-old grown men, or even in some cases women, that have these people half naked at random parts of the show. Like, you're just like, okay, cool. And I think that
it turned me off when I was younger and I was in that hormonal time of my teen. I avoided anime like that, like the plague, because it made me, mostly because of my Christian upbringing, but it was like, it made me feel weird. I don't know. I don't know.
You know, I had the opposite
it almost
effect.
felt like I was watching, and this is very extreme, but this is, I blame this on my upbringing in a Christian church. It almost felt like I was watching porn, but it obviously
it could be understandable why.
It's like, it was appealing to that frequency in the brain. It wasn't like I was afraid of being walked on while watching, I don't know, like Heaven's Lost Property or something.
I low-key was at one point. So
actually, I said about, yeah, I was.
So when I was watching anime, I wasn't watching anime to be a horn dog, first of all. Now, when I was watching anime, obviously at the earlier stages, you had like the hormones started coming out, obviously, right? So I started looking at girls a lot different than I had before. You know, growing up in school, they got cooties and all that type of stuff. So they'll move off their, you know. And then once it starts hitting, then you start looking at them in a different light. When I'm watching these shows and I'm seeing Sailor Moon, you know what I mean? I was in love. Sailor Moon and Sailor Mars, man, I wanted to marry both of them. You know what I'm saying? But I think that anime at some point had a more over-exaggeration of that sexual kind of appeal, because when you're watching a cartoon, you don't really see that. When you look at like some of the more mature cartoons, like let's say Teen Titans, I don't remember, and I'm saying it didn't happen, but I'm just saying, like, off the top of my brain or my mind, I don't really remember scenes where Raven, somebody that I was attracted to, or Blackfire or Starfire, is just like over voluptuous.
There were no shower scenes. There was,
you know
nobody
what I'm
tripping
saying,
and exposing their underwear.
And now there were some very mature themes in some of the Justice League shows, but to be honest, I don't think the Justice League shows were really targeted towards, I think Teen Titans was more targeted towards kids. Justice League, they're all adults. It's more like of an adult kind of.
I think they created a whole separate show called Young Justice, I believe.
Young Justice would be more towards and there was still romance in Young Justice, but it was a little bit different than watching, let's say, Fire Force or something, right? Where a character like, what's her name, Tamaki or something like that.
With the unlucky leech or lucky, whatever.
Tamaki's probably 16 or something. I don't know how old she is. I mean, I could look it up, but it's like, me personally, I really like
children under their own rules.
Under their own rules. So it's not like it's something crazy. And then even if you go with the she's 16, at what point in time did you get it? Did we have any consent from any of her parents to be there? We don't even know what her parents look like. You know what I'm saying?
And if they're orphans, that just gives the authors the right to draw these female characters.
So Tamaki is 17, which still doesn't matter because she's still under 18, and by the rules that I just looked up from their own country, it still wouldn't. Do you know what I'm saying? And in the show, she's half naked the entire time, pretty much. That's like her,
literally so simple.
Her thing.
Just make these characters' backstories take place in college. When they're above they could have been 20 and been drawn the same way. It would not have an effect in people liking the story or anime or at all, bro. It is that simple.
And if it did, you're weird.
Like, bro.
Like My Hero Academia could have been in college. They could have all been in college if you were gonna have people, you know, what do you call it? And at some point in time, I can see where both sides come from, because you'll have let's say a character come out, and let's say a girl comes, like I'm looking at a Hatsune Miku poster right there. You'll have some people complain that her legs are out. She's wearing a skirt. So like, unless she has a super short skirt on, I mean, has nobody seen a kneecap before? Like, so damn what? But there's a difference between that and being damn near half naked.
Like, bro, the Japanese girls, I see what Japanese school girls look like. We went to Japan.
We've seen
their skirts, they'll be above their knees, but they'll be like here, bro. The way that they be drawing these school girls,
them joints up here, twin.
Their shirt will be like right here, and then their skirt stops right here, bro. I'm just like, bruh.
We've been to Japan. We've seen it live. They still have dress codes. Like, you could still get in trouble. It's the same thing in America. You get they call it the fingertip length. Like, if you could stand up and it's above where your fingertips are, it's too goddamn short. It has to be below it. And that's just how it is. Some people, like, I mean, I'm sure schools in Japan, but some in America, they don't even give a damn about the fingertip. It has to be knee level. There is I better not see a kneecap.
I think our school was like below your knees, wasn't it?
No, it was fingertips at school. Okay. But considering that motherfuckers stand usually like this and that like this is about all right, like a little bit. But some schools, like they don't even want to see the kneecaps.
Some
like it's like
in the
low.
United States, it'll be like below your knees.
Low, and some motherfuckers will have it damn near down here. Like,
go to the Mormon school.
Yeah, no, I better not see a calf muscle, or it's up. You know what I'm saying? So I guess you could say that's where my disconnect comes from their side, because according to your own rules, that's not okay. And again, 9 times out of 10, it's usually a grown-ass man writing it, and again, at some point in time, it's grown-ass women. So it's like...
And by the way, just because all this is legal under law doesn't mean that it's morally right. A lot of people will say, oh, it's legal.
Well, that's not even
so
legal.
It's okay.
She's 7, like in the Tamaki case. She's 17.
Nobody over there is getting sued or put in jail for drawing minors in their anime.
Yeah, but in Japan they don't care.
Just because they're not breaking the law doesn't mean that it's okay. And I think this is why we're having this conversation, is because I believe we should start critiquing these different aspects of anime, so these authors, these freak authors, stop doing this and writing these stories. Because, and one of the main reasons why is because, believe it or not, a lot of the cultures that these weebs consume in anime is being translated into real life, especially when especially after COVID. After COVID, when people started coming outside and all these people were inside for like a year or two watching anime and stuff, because we were still going out even like during COVID, but after COVID like officially ended and people really started coming
out. After a lockdown, because after lockdown ended, people could go out, but people still weren't going out. It wasn't until like...
Yeah,
we weren't going out during lockdown before y'all try to get on us.
Yeah, it was legal for us to go out.
It was legal.
These events weren't just happening behind like the closed doors of the law in the United States or whatever.
Yeah.
And when people really started coming out and people were inside and they consumed a lot of online culture, and a lot of online culture was intertwined with anime, especially. And that was one of the main reasons why anime got so popular, is because online anime was like a thing. And a lot of people who were like locked inside for a while, even the ones that didn't go outside before getting locked in, they were like, oh, let me go to this anime convention where these people also like anime. And a lot of y'all are some weirdos, bro. Like, y'all be coming out here with like body pillows of half naked chicks, and I ain't gonna go too deep into it, but long story short, the culture that y'all portray in these anime characters make especially the young impressionable kids think that it's okay to treat girls the way that they're treated in anime like this in reality. And when they don't react the way that they react in anime, it causes a disconnect, and it causes like conflict between how people socialize, essentially, is what I'm trying to say. And in my opinion, it contributes to why people aren't in relationships as often as they were in the past. There's a bunch of other things that contribute to it as well, like, you know, finances and...
Oh, I thought I was about to sneeze. I thought I was about to... My bad. I'm sorry.
Finances and just, you know, social morality changing over time. Like, you know, the feminism movement, the more modern day feminist movements and stuff like that. All that stuff is changing, but more so these people that came out from watching anime and thinking that a lot of the ways that girls are treated in these animes, they think that that shit's okay. Entitlement, that's what I'm looking for. Y'all feel like you are entitled to be able to claim what you want because of the way you're treating them, the way that you treat people in reality based on what you consume in your content.
Do I not have Do Not Disturb on? Or what's going on?
All this to say, it's not just pixels. A lot of people will say that, oh, it's just pixels. So what's the problem? It's like the problem is even though you busted a nut on those pixels in your closet, you think that it's okay to do it in real life. And then when people call you weird as hell, a lot of people from that community have also moved into these communities that online has dubbed as incel community. People that are involuntarily, like not attracted. No, it's when women just aren't attracted to you. And this is you claiming that women aren't attracted to you, and so you're an incel. And you get put down a weird rabbit hole, and it's a cycle that you don't want to see your young children fall into, especially young boys, because it's not a representation of what reality is actually like. And it's ruining the connections that you could potentially be making with not only other boys, but other girls as well, if you just treat them like human beings and not like anime characters that these freak authors portray in these animes.
Like Mushoku Tensei?
Man!
Mushoku Tensei. Yeah. There's some,
oh my god.
Check that guy's hard drive.
There's a reason why he's wearing a mask too. There's a reason, bro. Cause let somebody leak a photo or a video of what this man looks like.
We're gonna be
man,
like the authors of like Boku no Pico and all of them. Like y'all are grown ass men. That was a little ass
bro. A grown ass man.
I'm telling you,
got the funding to animate that, bro. And y'all would jokingly recommend Boku no Pico back in the day. I'm just like, okay, weird ass name, but I go,
yeah.
The first episode, they're getting toxic, bro.
I got hit with the trap. Almost myself. Whoa, whoa. Okay, no, I'm sorry. That's not what I meant. But man, it was bad. I saw that and I was like, yo, what? So I was at school ready to tussle. Next time I said, yo, my eyes. I was about to Itachi Uchiha my eyes. My shit was I was finna just switch them with somebody else. Here, man, I don't even need these no more. That's probably why I got clusters now, because of that.
I got cursed with clusters.
I got cursed, bro. Yes and no. At some point in times, for certain cultures or certain things, Westerners kind of forget the fact that not everybody was born and grown like they weren't raised like they are. Like, and a lot of people, unfortunately, they don't travel or they don't even leave their own state, let alone their damn house or country, to where they go somewhere and see that there's like a whole way that other people live. Like it's not just like people look at America all the time and be like, yo, y'all are weirdos. You know what I mean? And it's just differences in culture. But at the same time, that isn't an excuse for kind of drawing and having these stories that are questionable by your own law, not even just ours, by your own law, to where you're sitting back and you're watching this like, yo, there was a grown man or a grown woman, whatever, an adult that drew all of this. And I'm just like, freaky ass stories. You know what I'm saying? Even if there's nothing crazy going on, like, and I'm somebody that I don't necessarily defend, but I think that some people overreact a lot. Like, I'll see a female character and her shoulders showing and people will blow up on Twitter. But then again, it's Twitter and people on Twitter are idiots.
Yeah, don't ever try to get any opinions that you think might be good on Twitter.
On Twitter, Reddit,
I
like
think
they're stupid, so it doesn't matter.
People on there are bots anyway, so it's like
they're stupid. It don't matter anyway. So I'm like, oh, y'all are complaining about nothing. Like, so what? But at the same time, there are actual examples of characters, and you're like,
So all this to say, let's have better conversations about these topics. And one way that we can move towards critiquing these authors is, well, I guess you can put them on blast on social media, but a lot of the times,
not even, just don't watch it.
The best way is to vote with your wallet. That's the best thing you can do when it comes to wanting to make a change in our reality. Is vote with your wallet. Stop supporting these authors when it comes to buying their merchandise, watching their anime. If you got a Crunchyroll subscription, when you watch that anime, you're supporting that author.
Exactly. The views, all that stuff comes back in. Just don't watch it. You see first episode, you see some fuckery. Nope. I tell people that all the time. If they're complaining about it, why are you still watching the show? Y'all will complain about a show, but be season 4, episode 5 in it. And I'm not talking about like a complaint, like, you know, in the show's dynamic, but like literal, like, oh, this show's so trash. Oh, they portray these characters. So why are you watching it? That's how you boycott it. Don't watch it. Because you can do all of that, their numbers are going up. They're going to be sitting in their house counting that paper, and we're going to get a season 2 because of it.
Yep.
Goblin Slayer got a season 2. I wonder why. It's almost like a lot of people were watching it.
I tried watching Goblin Slayer back then, but
it was too
boring.
It was too boring. The story didn't gather me enough. It didn't really matter, so I stopped. But it's like, that's my point. Like, a lot of people are watching it because of shock value of what happened in the first episode. And rather y'all want to admit it or not, some creators do that on purpose. It's how Redo a Healer got famous.
But let us know what y'all think in the comments. Let us know if y'all think that this was just way over our heads. Or let us know if you think this is a conversation that the anime community should start taking seriously and move forward with helping to make a change for better storytelling.